Welcome back to At Home with Roby. I'm Patrick McIsaac, president of Roby Electric, and along with Trent Haston, president and CEO of the Roby family of companies, we're your hosts. Be sure to connect with us on Facebook at Andrew Roby, Roby Electric, and Roby Realty. You can also check out our podcast as well. We are now joined by Paul from Lennox. Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
You are in charge of most of the North and South Carolina operation for Lennox. How long have you been with the company?
This will be my 9th year. So just moved to Charlotte, though, about a year ago.
You love it, don't you?
New to the Southeast, which there's a lot to learn when you guys.
Did you start when you were 15 with Lennox?
I
like
did.
Me?
Are you suggesting because I cannot grow a beard that I might
you and me
not
both.
be of
I like
age?
your look, man. You look clean and tall.
I was driving a dump
dirty
truck.
and short.
I was driving a dump truck this morning. I cleaned up for you. So
That's good. Thank you.
but new to the Southeast, which is a whole different experience.
Welcome to Charlotte.
Well, thank you very much. We're enjoying it so
Do
far.
you like it?
We do. Yeah, it's a great place. Very good place.
So Paul and I were talking. Paul also has 4 kids.
I do.
A little wider variance on gender. Has 2 boys and 2 girls, and also age, I think, 12 down to 4 months.
4 months, yeah.
And he knew that my wife Reagan drives a Sprinter van, and he was asking about it. So he said he had to get it customized.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my goal is that no child will ever have to touch the other child. And so as you start customizing those things, you can spend $200,000.
Oh.
So what I did is I scrapped that because the base models you can get in real cheap, but customizing is too expensive. I started looking at the old like Ford Econoline vans with the big TV and the ice chest in the bottom.
Man, that's a
with the
little
curtains.
creepy, right?
No, those are great, man.
Good
Those
gosh.
things are tanks.
My guy I grew up with, it was actually he and his twin sister, his parents had one, they called it the Pool 7.
Yeah.
Any kind of like baseball trips. They had a little Nintendo in the back. Man, we rolled. It was awesome.
So before we get into Lennox and HVAC, I do have to tell a funny story. My dad was looking at buying a van for the family, and that was when the minivans had just come out, and they had the minivans that were jacked up higher, the drop top I call them, just jacked up about another 1.5 feet, and had a TV up top,
Yes.
And we wanted it so bad, and my mom was telling my dad, "Oh, you can just," and we're crying. We're at the Jeep dealership in Belmont, and the kids, she got the kids on the bandwagon. We're bawling because Dad wouldn't raise the garage header.
He didn't know somebody
to put
that could
the
do
Astro van. I mean, it'd been like $15,000 for
Wow.
But when I got older, I said, "Man, we were silly." He said, "You've always been silly, boy." So
being silly is not a bad thing. We talked about that. Didn't you say last week we were going to get sponsored by Del Monte?
because we're so corny.
Yeah. All right. I like it. Well, let's talk about something that's not corny and something that is probably got the attention of pretty much every listener out there, and that is this heat. And that's the fact that we have an expert in the industry from Lennox here, and Paul Redman. Paul, Lennox, 120 years in business, only HVAC focused, and you have a new distribution center in Charlotte. Give us a little bit of the history.
Sure. So, yeah, we're a 120-year-old manufacturer. All we do is focus on heating, air conditioning, and heat transfer. So it's our sole focus. We have a distribution center that we just opened here. We've had 3 or 4 offices here, and then 10 throughout the Carolinas. But we just opened a central distribution center here in Concord, actually, that we'll do a grand opening on here in a couple weeks. So,
wow.
This is a great market for us, great market for heating and cooling, and really good, strong customer base and good demographics. Good.
So, ask you this, and I could be thinking about the wrong brand, but I have a buddy who's in my family business forum, and he's out of St. Louis. They build fireplaces and grills. He said that y'all got distracted some years ago and got into the fireplace business and then got back out of the fireplace business. Is that correct?
Right. So we're a publicly held company, and we have different businesses that we own at different times of whenever, and so we're no longer in the hearth business, but Lennox Hearth is still a product and still.
Well, I think I'm bringing it up because you're like, we are only in the heat and air. I think we're focused, laser focused. I think that's awesome. I mean, our business has evolved that way. You try some things. It's never a distraction when it's an opportunity, but I think sometimes if you hit the nail on the head and keep hitting the nail on the head, you'll drive that thing home.
Yep.
So I think that is awesome, and I it's very similar to some trials and tribulations we've had in our business.
Yep,
so.
absolutely.
I couldn't agree anymore. Now, obviously, having that HVAC focus, having the distribution center in Charlotte, I'm sure your dealers I'm saying that correctly.
You are, yep.
Including Roby Electric, who's obviously. Trent mentioned that we're blossoming into a good relationship and partnership with Lennox, but having that local distribution center is huge because why? We can get product quickly to where you need to get it to, correct?
It is, yeah. It's here in Charlotte, but also what's really key about doing business with Lennox, for you guys and really ultimately for your customer,
sure,
is that when you buy from Lennox, you're buying directly from the manufacturer. So most heating and air conditioning brands use distributors for their product, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But in our case, we kind of partner up with our dealers in the market. You're talking directly to the manufacturer, so we can take care of customers faster and just makes business a lot easier.
I will tell you, the same fella knows a lot about heating and air conditioning. He said Lennox is first class.
Good. Well, thank you.
He did.
Well, folks, you're listening to At Home with Roby. Connect with us today on Facebook at Andrew Roby, Roby Electric, and Roby Realty. We're here with Paul from Lennox talking about the importance of buying direct from a dealer for heating and cooling needs. Paul, tell us why that is so important. I mean, I know there's a ton of brands of heating and cooling out there. Why Lennox? Why do you partner with certain people? We talked about Lennox being a first class. Of course, we feel like we're first class at the Roby family of companies. That's why we want to partner with you all. But talk about the difference between Lennox and maybe some of the other manufacturers.
Well, I'd kind of like to look at it a little differently. I mean, really, ultimately, the first thing that a homeowner needs to be concerned about is obviously who they're using as a contractor. So that's of ultimate importance. Make sure they're using someone who's reputable, someone who's going to pull permits, be licensed. Look at reviews. Read what other consumers are saying. That's the most important thing. Brand is very secondary to that. So once that piece is figured out and you're comfortable with the contractor who will be doing work in your home, then you need to explore in the event that you do need to replace your equipment, what is that contractor installing? There's over 100 brands of HVAC. There are probably 5 names that are the big names, and we're one of them, certainly. And we like to think that the difference with us is our contractors are buying directly from us, and they can bring their consumers into our distribution center and see the equipment and see our live lab and training center. And
that's awesome.
We post reviews on our product and our customers and contractors online. So full transparency. We want to take care of customers and keep people comfortable in their homes.
That's great. No, I mean, I've talked about it. I mean, what really was a big inflection point in the early 2000s with our business was partnering up with like-minded vendors and subs and product and growing together. Rising tide raises all ships if you're in it for the right reasons. So.
No, I mean, and what he's touching on is what we talk about. I mean, somehow in every single show this comes up is what we're all about, the customer experience, right? I mean, and that's what we've talked about, Paul. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of any Roby service is ensuring that the customer is getting the best possible customer experience. And that's what that means a lot to you as well, right?
It does, and part of that customer experience, like on the consumer side, is being prepared. It's 100 degrees today, and I've got some friends and neighbors that are calling me, and they're saying, who can you? Well, first they ask me, can I come out to their house and check it out? And they don't want that.
You're
Trust
too
me.
Tall.
You see, yeah. I strictly focus on asphalt and heavy machinery, but no. So they don't want me coming out. But I ask them, I say, who takes care of your system throughout the course of the year? Who's doing your preventive maintenance so it can stay under warranty? And they don't have anybody. And so what's happening is they're calling contractors on a day when it's 100 degrees, and the contractor's saying, hey, we can get someone there by 6 o'clock tonight or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So what I recommend people do is always have someone that you're in some sort of service agreement with and maintenance contract. They're not expensive. It's, sometimes you can pay monthly payments that are really small. And that way, when you call that company on the hottest day of the year, the coldest day of the year, they know who you are. They're going to give you priority service. They don't want to lose you. You're going to get a discount on whatever replacement of parts or whatever. But don't wait until it's 100 degrees to realize your house isn't cooling. And that's what smart consumers should do.
It's proactive versus reactive, right? I mean,
exactly.
I run around my office all the time saying it's a game of heels and toes.
Yep.
And you want to manage your asset as a home on your toes and not on your heels, because I'm sure when you have to have them on that 100-degree day in demand side, they're gonna the price goes up, and if you're a repeat client, the price goes down.
Absolutely. And one thing people don't consider too is that part of back to having preventive maintenance contracts and a relationship with a contractor is, in the event that you ever need to file a warranty with the manufacturer, they're going to ask, have you had your system maintained? Because if you go 10 years without maintaining the system, it's going to be difficult to get that covered under warranty. So,
I agree.
Paul, good stuff. Do you think you can hang around for the next segment?
Yeah, you bet.
All right, perfect. You're listening to At Home with Roby. Don't forget to check out our podcast if you've missed any of the show or you're going to hear some of our past shows. We're with Paul from Lennox. We'll be right back.